What up, yo?
Howdy.
Hey.
And welcome to yet another episode of Have You Seen? With Nick, Amber, and moi.
That would be Lance, not moi.
Yeah. I'm going to have it legally changed to moi, though. So,
No, you're not.
oh, you know,
No.
you say that now.
No. I'm never going to call you that.
Moi?
No.
Because it's referring to herself
Well,
when she says it,
well.
but not to herself when I say it. It's referring to myself.
Bust my balls here. All right. So, today, I asked Nick, well, not today, but a couple of weeks ago at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, it's been about a month.
Yeah.
About a month.
I said, hey, Nick,
Yes.
have you seen the movie Hide and Seek? And then
Right.
Amber said, it's called Ready or Not. And I'm like, it was called Hide and Seek at one point. Then they changed the name to Ready or Not.
Well, I think I had not seen it, but also, I mean, what they call it now is important because that's how you find it.
Right.
Yeah, if you go looking for hide and seek, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is probably why they changed it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a movie called Hide
Ready
and
or
Seek?
Not works though.
Yeah, I mean, they called Edge of Tomorrow. Didn't they change that to Live, Die, Repeat or something like that?
No, the original title was Live, Die, Repeat, and they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow.
And then that became the slogans for the posters.
Yeah,
Live, Die,
and it
Repeat.
just made it confusing because now you don't know what it's called.
Yeah, yeah. But, oh, man, what a good movie. That is definitely one that we need to review.
Yeah, I have not watched that one yet.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I think I have it. I just haven't watched it yet.
It's actually ridiculously good.
Okay, that is...
I don't go out of my way to watch Tom Cruise movies usually.
He's so good.
I can respect that, but he's weirdly very good in most of his
Oh
movies.
yeah, sure. I mean, he's a crazy nutball
Yeah, he's-
who is a good actor.
He's crazy as a bag of hammers, but, man, is he a good actor.
So, which would mean he should, in theory, be able to hide the crazy much better. But you know,
I don't know.
No, he's just playing Tom Cruise at that point.
that's beside the point, though. We watched Ready or Not.
Yes.
And so, Nick, on a scale... Oh, so real quick, we're going to go ahead and give our scores, what we thought of it. 0 being it was dog shit, and 10 being like, oh my God, so good. 5, right in the middle. But you, Amber, already know this. And Tim,
do.
probably. And probably, you know.
Tim, I'm trying to get to actually watch this movie because he has not seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
At least as the last time I spoke to him prior to this recording.
Watch the movie, Tim. But... just to get the scores out of the way, so you can just go about your daily lives.
Because then we're gonna talk about it in detail.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, because then we're going to spoil the shit out of it after we give our scores. So you've been warned, and here we go. Nick, if you
Yes.
had to give this movie a score from 0 to 10, what would you give it?
I think I'd round this one up to a 7.
Ah, so close.
Okay. All right. So I was wrong on that one. Okay.
As in, pretty good. I think it's better than 6, but I don't think I'm gonna watch this one again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I watched it. It was fun, but I'm done.
Okay. Okay. We'll get into it. And then Amber,
Yes.
if you had to give this movie a score from 0 to 10, what would you give it?
So I will say this is not the first time I had seen it because you had made me watch it a while ago. But it's fun. I enjoy it, and so I'd give it a 7.
All right.
Now let me adjust for hey Lance. What about you?
So, I've seen this movie about 4 times now. I would give this movie a 9.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
All right.
So sad.
Yep. And
So now
I thought 9 was too high.
yeah, I would have thought so too. So now's the time to reach for your remote and hit a stop if you don't want to hear
The
movie's about.
spoilers.
Because
There's no way to discuss this movie without
yeah, you kind of
spoiling it.
gotta. Just talking about the premise itself is
Kind of spoilery.
spoilery.
Yeah.
so, we'll see you in a minute, and welcome back. All right, so
So Nick, what did you expect from a movie called Ready or Not?
I was expecting something violent, I guess, but I wasn't expecting the premise itself. I thought someone was hunting people.
Well, I mean,
But
that was part of the
I didn't
premise.
expect it to be like, oh, before we get married, we have to play a game, and if you pull a bad card, then we hunt you.
yeah, so the thing that I guess I didn't think about when we watched it initially was like, Ready or Not, the hide and seek game is like the sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something, or basically you family loses.
Yes.
And then, like, because it didn't make any sense to me that you have people married into the family, and like if they win, then they're in. If they lose, then they die.
Well,
and then Amber said that she was like, no, if you lose, then
it's all about the card, the game you draw.
It's which card do you play, or which game do you play?
Right.
Only the hide or seek is the
Right.
It's time for a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like Daniel's wife, Charity, played chess. I don't remember Emily or whatever the other girl was who was going around just killing everybody indiscriminately. Her husband got to play old maid, and then
Yeah.
and then Helene, his husband, played the first game of hide and seek.
30 years, like back in the 80s. Yeah, I didn't expect what I got from this movie. I know that when I watched the trailer, I was like, this should be a fun flick. And then, like, you get the premise, and I was just like, okay, this is interesting. And I think what I like the most about it is that it's a non-serious movie that they play very seriously. Like, the way that the actors are, like, the main girl, is very believable that she's, like, scared out of her fucking mind. And just, like, she's so confused. And then we'll get more into what happens later on in the movie, but I guess I was kind of fascinated by how creative the movie was, because it kind of takes you in one direction, then it takes you in another direction, and then like it kind of punches you in the fucking nose at the end of the movie. So, I was really impressed by that. The movie has high watchability for me.
I don't think that there's a punch in the nose at the end of the movie, really.
Really?
Not really. So for the most part, a lot of it was going as I expected. I even expected Dude to eventually turn because they set it up as they're going through the movie. You can get text messages there, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's just warnings and stuff like that. I'm sorry. That's the one time I forgot to do it. All right.
So, I mean, they kind of foreshadow that the newlywed husband is going to turn. Because, I mean, that's what you do. You foreshadow it. And then he does. And you're like, oh, okay. And at the end, when they like, the sunlight from dawn hits them and they all do like the thing, I was like, that would be funny if absolutely nothing happens. But then stuff started to happen and I'm like, no, okay. It's not what I was kind of hoping to happen.
The only thing that's really kind of, like, I agree with you. It would have, I think, been better had it just been a non-issue. Nothing actually happened. But the fact is like every time something happened, it was like kind of punctuated onto a humorous beat. So they played it more for laughs than they did for scare. It was laugh and gore.
And I think that was a change at last minute also. I think there are two versions of this movie where there's like the nothing happens and like the family goes to jail kind of ending to the movie as well. But I thought that them exploding was fucking hilarious.
It was funny.
Just for the fact of they're talking about how everyone's going to die if you don't get the sacrifice or whatever, and they're all like very serious about it. And the one dude's like, maybe it's all bullshit. Maybe nothing happens. And they go ahead and seed that in there that, maybe nothing happens. And the guy's like, well, you remember this one family, their house burnt down and like they all burnt down in it. So it's like the house catches on fire, people die, but you fucking explode. Like I thought that was so fucking funny.
So here's the fun thing. Watching it, there is a little bit of rewatchability in picking out some of the specific foreshadowing that they do that you can't be cognizant of if you don't know the ending. So one of the things that gets said right before they go to draw the cards is one of the girls looks at what was her name, Grace, and she goes, your head's going to explode, and runs off. And there was just a lot of little drop beats along the way at the beginning of the movie, like this is what's happening at the end, and you keep you can see that they're just tiny moments, and then you just get kind of wrapped up into the game, the most dangerous game.
Man.
Yeah, I just some of the kills in the movie I just thought were hilarious. When they killed the first guy and shot her in the head, or the first girl and shot her in the head, she's like, I keep I fucked up. I'm so sorry. And they're like, you're supposed to make sure she's alive for the sacrifice. You don't shoot her in the fucking head.
Yeah. The next time she came around the corner, was just popping shots. And she's like, aim for the middle mass.
Yeah, center gravity, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I keep fucking up." But like when they crossbow the girl in the mouth, I was just kind of like, "Okay." And then she starts doing the gurgle that's interrupting the big speech.
Yeah.
And she goes over there and chops off her fucking head. I was like, "All right, that's funny." Like, but like they kind of set you up for moments that are just like they're humorous, but then they do to something serious, like her getting out of the goat pit with the nail at the top. Like that had me squirming the first time I watched it. But yeah, it's you get a movie that has like somewhat serious content that they play for laughs. And one of the funniest moments to me, and I think you laughed at it the first time we watched it, was when the guy gets handed the crossbow, and he's like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this?" and then he's watching you and your crossbow in the bathroom.
Yeah, in the bathroom trying to figure out how the fuck to use a crossbow.
Yeah, and he's like watching the video, and then like he gets the text from his friend. He's like, "What up, dog?" And like has the conversation, and you see her just drop out the window behind him, and he's like, "Hmm." And then goes and looks back and like starts talking to his buddy again, and she goes running the fuck off. Like I thought those moments were just hilarious.
Now you just got a bunch of people inept at human sacrifice.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, I think that's the funny part about it is it's like you play harmless games, and then you have the sacrifice thing come up, and like none of these people had really done it except for the wife and the dad.
And technically
And
the aunt, but the aunt didn't participate, but she goes and says she should have.
Right. So
She should
she
have.
was there for it, just like the boys were there for it, but like they weren't participating either.
Well, no, Daniel technically participated because Daniel ratted out her groom.
Yeah.
He was shot in the and I actually like the one of the nice things I actually think about it is that one moment that they show you at the beginning I think is very formative for Daniel for the entire movie because one we expect him to do it again, but I think it's the root cause of his drinking. Because they pretty much establish he has a drinking problem, and living in that family, I would have a drinking problem too. His wife is terrible. Charity is terrible. But he did say Grace was the only one there with a soul, but at the wedding, which was probably true. But then, I feel like he was the only one. He legit tried to get Grace to leave before the wedding. He tried to scare her off in as nice a way as he could, not to hurt his brother, but it's like, hey, she seems like she's a good girl. Let's not risk it.
Yeah.
And so you were seeing seeds that he was actually a genuine good guy the whole time. So in the woods, when he, I think if his father wasn't there, I think she would have gotten away then. I think he didn't let her go because his dad would have intervened then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was right there behind that tree. If she would have tried to start charging off, he probably would have shot her in the leg. So
Yeah. But
He pretends to play along so that he can free her at some other
yeah, because
opportunity.
it's immediately after she's brought back and is on the ritual table that he poisons them all. So he would have stopped. He would have let her go.
are they gonna die? No, they're just gonna be sick for a couple of days, and they're gonna shit weird for a week, but otherwise they'll be fine. The banter in this movie I thought was like really, really good. Like it's clear I like the movie because I gave it a 9. That the banter, the way the characters are, the different stylings of all the different characters, some of the situations that they get in that fucking movie are hilarious. Like her seeing the kid in the goat pit, and he shoots her in the fucking hand, and she just punches the shit out of him. Like I thought that part was fucking hilarious.
Once she got out, she should have tossed him in the goat pit.
That would have been the smart move, but I don't think she knew it was. Oh, yeah, no, you're saying once she got out of the goat pit to like toss his ass in.
Yeah. Just so that he wouldn't
Yeah, he
come
would.
chasing after her or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she left the gun. I might have been out of ammo because wasn't that little one that the girl lost?
I think so.
So maybe that was its only shot, but she's going away and like, pick up the gun at least.
Yeah.
And like when she, the guy came out and she like partially choked him before getting in the car. I'm
She
like,
could have taken the dart gun.
Pick up his gun.
Which turned out to be a dart gun,
And
but
then
still.
she like started the car and I'm like, and run him over. I'm like, okay, I'll just leave.
And then OnStar, or movie version of OnStar, we've the car's been before it started.
Yeah, it's been reported stolen. Well, I'm gonna cut the engine. She's like, "Don't do that," and then it cuts off. She's like, "Jay," or whatever his name was, "Aaron, turn on the car."
Jason maybe?
Justin.
Justin, turn on the car. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Justin, please turn on the car. My hands are tied here. Justin. Justin? Yes. Go fuck yourself. Okay. and then he just cuts off the call. He's like, okay, thank you for calling on whatever on par or whatever.
I think your favorite profane laced tirade that she has is when the one like Porsche goes screeching by or whatever rich fancy car goes screeching by her, and then she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And then just goes on the most hilarious profane tirade.
Until she's out of breath. Like you can hear she's pushing every ounce of breath to get that curse out. It was just like, okay, but I like that she was so, like, I don't know who she is. I don't know what other movies. I'll look it up here in a second and see what she's been in. But like, I thought she was very convincing. I thought that she was like, I thought everybody in this movie did a fantastic job.
Yeah, good.
For the content. I think this is another Blumhouse movie.
That same company that did not the Happy Death Day.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Freaky, and
Okay.
the Blumhouse has kind of got the market kind of cornered on putting out new spins on horror movies. They're not always the most original kind of concepts in essence, but they put new spins on them, and they do a blend of humor and horror, which has proven that is actually very popular for.
So we're gonna go ahead and get this part out of the way.
Which one are you starting with?
So we're gonna start with Rotten Tomatoes. So critics guesses.
79.
79. Okay.
74.
74. 88.
Wow,
Okay.
that's really high for the critics.
Yeah. And then for the audience,
82.
I was gonna say 85.
78.
Okay.
So
more critics than.
apparently the critics liked it more than the people watching the movie, which I thought was weird. Also, Amber had a great idea for a costume. Well, I said it'd be a good costume for Dragon Con, her running around in like a bloody dress. And Amber goes,
No, you had specifically said when she had the bandolier and the rifle.
yeah.
Or
And
the
then Amber said that would be like a through the day costume, where it's like during the day I'd be in like the full dress. And then, like, the middle of the day, I'd be in the ripped dress with a little bit of blood on me and the gun. And then at the end of the day, she would be in, like, the fully gory thing. So, and just kind of running around the con. So, I thought that was hilarious. All right, so we got that out the way. So, on IMDb, what is the score?
7.8.
7.8.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be in the sevens. 7.5.
7.5. It's got a 6.8 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know why this movie's not higher.
No, I think 6.8 is generous.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's about where I would be, but
Right.
I rounded up to a 7.
Okay. And the Metascore is 64. I don't know what the Metascore even means, but
I just based it off of what the audience score over on Rotten Tomatoes was. 78%, 7.8.
so there are
Yeah, they're for some reason different.
there are
Because you would think that they would be a lot closer.
Yeah,
Not a point off.
so there are a lot of people. There are a lot of names I don't recognize in this movie.
I think I only knew one name. Is it Adam Brody? Is that his name?
Andy McDowell's in it. I know her.
Yeah. I don't
The dad, I don't know his name, but I've seen him in many
Henry
things.
Zerny.
He's been in many things.
Henry Zerny.
His face is so familiar.
Then you have you have Samara Weaving as Grace, Adam Brody as Daniel, Mark O'Brien as Alex, Henry Zerny as Tony. You have Annie McDowell as Becky. That's like the one lady that I recognize in this whole flick. And then you have a lot of other
No names.
people that are wonderful actors that I just not seen
I'm
anything.
not familiar with. I don't think I was really familiar with anybody.
But now that we've seen this movie, and we don't really know what movies they're in future movies, you're gonna be like, hey, that was the brother that
Yeah, totally.
yeah, and that's part of the fun. But yeah, I believe this is a Blumhouse movie. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember if I saw that at the beginning of the movie or not. But yeah, I'm sorry. I just really wanted you to watch this one because I thought you'd be like, all right, this is pretty damn good.
I like it. I don't know that I'll rewatch it per se. Mm-hmm. But it's not like I watched it. I'm like, damn, why the fuck did I watch it? I'm like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. That's pretty good.
Well, I made her watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't make her don't get the wrong idea. I didn't
He
like.
made me watch
I didn't.
it. He tied me down, and put me in a chair, gagged me, and taped my eyelids open and made me watch it.
That's
I mean,
good.
by the same respect, you made me watch it too. But
Well, no,
That's good.
I made you watch it for a review. Yes.
well, I could have also just said, "Yeah, fuck that." But
Yeah. Well, I mean, I watched this one at work, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a great premise. I think Amber's really going to dig this one." So it was like, I came to her at the house later on. I was like, "I got a movie that I really want you to see," and I think I'd loaded up a couple of stinkers that I thought you'd like, but you didn't like. Like the only two things I've ever hit with, I think, in recent memory was Doctor Horrible and Dale and Tucker. And then like I ran a couple of other ones by you. Were like, yeah, you can go on without me on these. But like I thought that premise was so good. I was like, she's got to watch this movie. And then I think you were laughing most of the way through on the first run through.
Yeah, no, I think I've laughed on both for what times I've watched the movie.
You know, what did you get out of the movie? Like, what do you have any special, like, anything you want to talk about the movie?
I've already mentioned those. I mentioned how I was paying attention to like the little Easter eggs of foreshadowing and the character arc with Daniel that was very apparent, and you know how I'm fairly certain that the turning point for Alex was when he thought that Grace killed Daniel.
yeah,
I think that was his turning point.
I would agree.
Because he didn't know that Daniel had poisoned everybody and let her go. He heard the gunshots. He ran and found Daniel shot. By proxy, Grace killed Daniel. And I think that was his turning point because Daniel was the one person in his family he loved.
Yeah, I would agree to that point where it seems like he went and saw Daniel and he was not able to say like, she didn't do it. Because you know,
Yeah, my wife did this.
Yeah, it's my wife did it. He was gurgling and on his way out. So therefore, while they're trying to kill my wife, she killed him first.
I don't know. I guess I see it a little different only for the fact of, yes, that would have probably been a major catalyst. You killed my brother. But he was still like, are you okay? We need to get you out of here kind of a thing. And
Yeah,
then,
but at the
and then
time
she
he does
kept like
that.
flinching at his touch.
But at that point, Lance, if your family went psycho on me and tried to murder me, I probably wouldn't want you to touch me. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying that that's not how you would react. What I'm saying is, I think he was still trying to be like, I love you.
Yeah.
You know?
Or was he trying to lure her in under a false pretense to be able to grab her? Unfortunately, at that point, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
We
he might have been on the fence and then seeing her recoiling was
The
enough
reason-
to tip him. Or
The reason why I feel like the Daniel moment is they take great pains to show you Alex getting out, Alex getting to the room to that one room, then hearing the gunshots, and then it's cutting back and forth to where Alex is in retrospect to all of it. So you know he knows nothing of the events that have transpired. So it's painting the picture. He's going into these last scenes with an incomplete picture of what actually happened because he wasn't with the family. And at that point, and they had established Daniel was the only one of his family members that he liked because Daniel was the one who kept trying to keep Alex out of everything.
And they also don't give Grace the time to explain that,
Yeah.
like he comes in and says Daniel's dead, and she's like, well, I didn't do it. It was his stupid wife.
You know, I mean, it's to me, it seemed like he was still trying to like get her out of there. But like when he reached up to touch her and she flinched, and he was like, "It doesn't matter how this is going to turn out. You're not going to want to be with me, are you?"
Which, I mean, could be the point, too. It could have been like he was on the fence and kind of like teetering towards turning on her, and then like she recoiled from his touch, and he's like, well, this is...
Yeah. It's,
Well, I'd
it's,
rather live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have a life with you, so I guess I'll just see if I can keep that life with my family, but yeah, I don't know, for such a wacky ass movie, has like such a weird premise to it, and then like when they started popping, I thought it was funny when she started laughing at Adam at the end of it, and then like after everyone was gone, the chair flared up, and you see the devil kind of like nod to her, and she went. I think she said like "fuck me" or something like that, and then just like turns around and walks out. But like that last scene of her sitting on the steps smoking the cigarette, and the cop was like, "We found one back here,"
Yeah.
and it's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "In-laws."
Yeah.
Like it was a great movie.
I also like that Alex didn't explode until she threw the ring at I want a divorce. Like, maybe he would have been okay, but then, like, we're not connected. He's like, oh, okay, the devil done popped him.
I just imagine the devil just being at that part where it's like, "Oh, you think you're fine?" No, okay.
You have to admit, though, he probably vastly enjoyed this game, whatever the outcome was, because it was probably entertaining for him to watch. You know, the ones where they immediately find him and sacrifice, he's like, you guys had 6 hours to draw this out and make it a fun, psychopathic, sadistic game for my pleasure, and instead you made it like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, this one, it was like, he was probably like, hey, I'm going to get either like the greatest sacrifice in this girl, or I'm going to kill all of them. Either way, this is going to be fun for me. And he got to have like perverse enjoyment over watching the
And all the random
Shenanigans.
and all the random servants that died along the way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
well,
true.
maybe the servants weren't satanic worshippers too. I don't know though.
It seemed like two of them were kind of on board with what was going on, and then the last girl that was hiding in the dumbwaiter, she seemed like she was new.
And didn't know, but
And
but as soon as she was like, "Oh, they're after me," she's over here, and then kills herself.
Yeah, gets stuck in a dumbwaiter.
Well, she was just like, yeah, she's like, they're after me, they're not after you. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. It's just this one guy likes how I dance. And it was kind of like, okay. Well,
Yeah, what a shocker that guy was a perv, because I'm pretty sure it was not Charity and Daniel's people. I think it was the niece and the other guy who was watching the crossbow video. I think they were their servants.
Yeah,
They flew in.
well, they all looked the
They-
same.
they-
They were all dressed the same.
I would think it would be at the parents' house, and that was all of the workers at the parents' house.
Oh, maybe then.
The servants.
Because the sister and her husband didn't show up until the end. Because remember, like,
yeah.
I can't fly commercial anymore.
Yeah.
So they had to come in on their own special private jet because flying commercial, how plebeian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they owned four major sports teams and like had that game empire. Those people are fucking
No,
loaded.
Dominion. They make it. She asks, "Is it an empire or whatnot?" And he says, "We prefer the word Dominion. Dominion never means anything good, and when you use it to describe a vast accumulation of anything, it's the Dominion.
Yeah.
It's normally got some kind of dark undertones."
Star Trek: The Dominion was perfectly fine. So, but yeah, it's just. I'm glad y'all watched the
Yeah,
movie.
it's good. I enjoy this movie.
And
I feel like there's not terribly much to
Because a lot of it
digest about it.
is the runaround and the chase.
that's the
and-
problem with horror is that you could talk about some of the kills. There's usually not a whole hell of a lot of storyline there, but like while this one does have like an interesting storyline to it, it's pretty straightforward. You run, we seek, and then it's like just a lot of kills and everything like that. So that is the problem with horror movies. It's pretty straightforward. Then it's just entertainment.
Yeah, so it's definitely one to watch, not to hear be discussed, I think.
Yes. So if you are watching this and you haven't watched it yet, and you're at this point, the fuck you doing? Stop and go watch the movie.
Even the dog agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hallie. I appreciate that. But
She did punctuate her. What the f are you doing?
so now we're at the part of the show where Nick makes me watch some kind of trash.
Hey, have I made you watch trash?
Yes, Blood Rain.
That wasn't a heavy scene.
That's true. Okay. All right. So what you got for me?
Because I also have to watch it. And I was ready to watch Blood Rain, because that one was funny.
It's just
That one makes me laugh.
the funny part is that we had discussed about doing like watching Uwe Boll movies and giving those ratings.
What do you think about that now?
But I'm thinking, you know what? I think
No,
it might be a
I don't
bad
want to be
idea.
part of that.
Especially when I was like, I'll be able to watch Street Fighter. And you're like, that's not Uwe Boll. And it was like, that was my one ray of sunshine I thought was going to be in those movie lineups.
But Nick, what are you gonna make Lance watch?
So Lance, have you seen Rings?
Like The Ring?
Yeah, it's the third sequel to the American one.
They made another one? They made two more?
Now, Ring 2 is not that good. And also it has nothing to do with what goes on in Rings, so we're going to skip the second one and just go to this. Well, the second one's, it's whatever, it's fine. It's not particularly great, and they're diverged from the Japanese ones at that point in time, although the Japanese ones aren't necessarily amazing either.
Okay, so first off, I didn't know it existed. So yeah, no, I haven't watched this movie.
So that one was made in 2019, I think.
Oh wow, that's
2017.
recent.
There.
That's still recent.
And it's got Johnny Galecki, who you'd recognize.
Really?
It also has Vincent D'Onofrio.
Really?
What?
The main actor, I think, is Matilda Anna Ingrid Lutz. I don't know.
No idea.
But it's got Vincent D'Onofrio and Leonard from
Leonard.
Big Bang Theory.
from Big Bang
yeah.
Theory, and I'm like, okay, and it's got some stuff in it that I think is neat. And also, I just want to talk about The Ring some more. And it's almost been a year. I think we talked about The Ring back in March.
I know you were talking about us doing new school versus old school versus middle school or something like that.
And that's coming up next week.
And is that one of the movies in that?
No, that's
Okay.
different franchise. Do we want to talk about what we want to do next week? Because
No.
no, it was
Leave it a surprise.
Okay.
Leave it as
Because
surprise.
next week we've got a three-fer coming up.
Yeah. But the things we do for you fucks.
That's for me.
Oh, well.
This is
I
all for me.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, the things that you make me do for these fucks. How about that?
We make each other do for these fucks.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate being
Apparently,
called
Amber-
fucks.
Oh, yeah, you're the one watching it. That's my. Okay. Sorry, baby.
Blame
Sorry,
him.
baby.
Blame him. He started it.
Yeah, well, yeah. She'll get over it.
So I guess join us.
We're divorced.
Jesus. All right.
So I guess join us next month for Rings.
Mm-hmm.
And stay tuned next week for another old school versus new school.
We're going to do Citizen Kane. No, we're not.
No.
That
Don't
mo-
ever listen to him.
The movie's trash. Listen to me on that one.
No.
Get them in the comments. I've never seen it. It's one of those movies that like you hear about, so you know it,
Spot.
and I don't really want to watch it. Like Casablanca has been like thrown at me through all the parodies. I'm like, I don't need to see it at this point.
I went through a thing where I wanted to watch everything that won Best Film. And then I started with Citizen Kane. And then that completely sapped my energy to want to do that.
It's kind of like we come up with the concept like let's watch Uwe Boll movies. Then you watch one, and then you're like, oh, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. No, that took the wind out of my sails real fast.
Let me watch all the best pictures. Oh, never mind.
I mean, you know, if it wins Best Picture, but then
That
means
it means an accredited room of people in the industry have voted it. That doesn't mean it's audience best picture. It's the people in the back rooms who got the screeners and the pitches and perhaps the bribes, because there's a lot of politicking behind best picture.
free lunches and shit.
And it's one of those things that it's known that the best picture doesn't always win that's truly deserved.
And it's like, what did Crash beat out? It was like a big one that Crash beat out. That was kind of like, why the hell would you pick Crash over it?
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
not
know.
sure.
But
You know,
leave it in the comments,
Yeah,
noble
that's-
people.
we'll look it up afterwards, but you could let us know in the comments anyway.
Yeah, let them know in the comments. I'll look it up and I'll put it in there. This will be proof that I actually watched it.
I just want to talk to you for a minute. If you could, you know what? Don't even like it. You don't have to like this. You don't have to subscribe. It would be nice if you shared it with someone and just send them and say, hey, these guys are pretty funny.
If you think we're funny.
One in the middle's cute. One on the left, I'd bang him. And the girl, it's mine. Don't even look. Stop it. But like, just share. Just share it. Just see how it feels. She's the only one watching, so I guess I'm asking her to share it. Anyways,
All right, we done?
yep.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, bye everybody.
Go watch the movie.
Bye.